Hi, Media Studies students. Well, welcome to Term 2 online. It's a little bit exciting. Um, I really hope and pray that you guys have had a wonderful study break. I know that there's obviously studying that had to have been happening at home, but I hope that you got a bit of a rest, had a bit of a chill time with your families, and had an awesome Easter. So basically, I wanted to bring you guys a video to get you all up to speed so that we're starting all on the same page of where we're heading this term. Obviously, when we chatted last term, my thinking was to flip everything around and to jump straight into institutions and audiences. We are going to not start on that quite yet. The reason behind my initial thinking was that because you guys can't do any filming right now, it might be pointless to start PT2. Although I am thinking that if we do all the planning for preliminary task 2, we'll just hold off on the filming for now. But I think the planning and the group work that needs to happen, the collaboration, the researching can actually all happen from home. So we are going to start preliminary task 2 as planned as of now. And you guys are going to have a week, what we would have had in class time, you're going to have a week to get your planning together. You are also going to have, as usual, your homework activity, your homework task up on our blog. So the planning is what you would have been doing in class time. Your homework task is additional to that and needs to be happening at home as well. So same as what we would be doing if we were at school. So preliminary task 2. This is moving a step further. You now have got the knowledge, you now have got the know-how, you know exactly how to do this because you all did exceptionally well in preliminary task 1. Now we're moving on, we are sticking with our thriller genre. We're taking a little step further and we are now going to explore a subgenre. So a thriller subgenre. So you're not going to go off and make a comedy. You're not going to go off and make a horror. You are sticking within the thriller genre, but you are picking a subgenre. So like we've spoken about, this could be an action thriller. This could be a romance thriller. This could be a psychological thriller, a drama thriller. I want you guys to have a think. Again, you're going to be working in your same groups. I know I toyed with the idea of letting you guys mix up the groups, but that's not going to work, as someone brought to my attention, because you have created your group blogs with your production company, and there's actually going to be a lot of work on that production company, especially with preliminary task 2 and moving ahead. So I'm going to share my screen and talk you and walk you through what you need to be doing now. So as if we are in class, I would be splitting you into your groups, talking you through this, and then letting you loose to plan. Now, the one downside is I'm not there looking over your shoulder, eavesdropping and listening to your planning to be able to jump in with things that I'm seeing or hearing that may or may not work. That is where I need you guys to be providing me your daily updates, if not daily, definitely every 2 days, your updates of what you're planning, what your idea is, where you want to shoot it, where you want to film it, what sort of things you wanting to play around with and try. And that is going to be really beneficial for you to not get to the end of your planning like one of our groups did last time and then decide actually that's not going to work and then have to change it. You want to be getting feedback the whole way through so that by the time you get to filming, you have a foolproof plan. So I will share my screen. Bear with, please. And bring up, when I can find it. This is the brief that will be on our class blog, all right? So I'm just going to make this a whole lot bigger. Okay. This is what we are moving into, okay? Scrolling. So we're straight into preliminary task 2, exciting times. We're being more intentional about the creation of suspense and tension. Remember, that's the trademark of a thriller. Does it create a sense of tension and suspense in your audience? You now have become masters at doing that because you've done that in preliminary task 1. Now you need to take it to the next level. You need something that really builds that suspense and tension through the use of specific filming techniques and conventions. It is a good idea to get them to choose well, it's a good idea for you to choose a specific thriller subgenre that you want to try reproduce. You can reference your recent blog assignments, because remember, you've done something on subgenres already on that, and decide which conventions you want to use. PT2's mark will also take into account how good a job you did at making an accurate representation of this subgenre. So if you tell me in your planning that you are planning on doing a psychological thriller, I'm going to expect that you've got the conventions nailed and that it is an obvious psychological thriller. So you need to research what that should look like. What are the ingredients that would go into that particular genre, and make sure that those are implemented and added into your final product and your planning. Remember, your planning needs to reflect your final product. So we're switching up the roles. Whatever you did for PT1, you're not going to do this time around. If you did the script last time, someone else does the script. Everybody's going to do certain things. Everybody does a brainstorm. Everybody does a treatment and a concept, and I'm going to explain to you how to do those. Everybody is going to do a sort of a mood board or a vision board of what they think their film needs to look and feel like. Everybody's going to research editing techniques and sound. But you're not all going to do props. You're not all going to do setting and location. So that is where you would switch up. If you were the director last time, that needs to be someone else's role. So you are going to have two characters. They are both going to walk to a meeting place, either together or separately. An object is given or taken from one of the characters. Remember, these guidelines are here to make sure that you have the content to be able to practice and demonstrate continuity editing. There's going to be a short chase sequence. So this is where we're wanting to know, do you know your 180-degree rule? Can you do continuity editing? Can you do fast-paced editing? So in all likelihood, a lot of yours will probably be leaning to an action thriller, which if I were you, I would take on that, because a chase sequence is a convention of an action thriller. Doesn't have to be, but it can be. There are going to be at least 2 lines of dialogue. You can have more. A discovery or revelation moment, and it needs to be 1 to 2 minutes maximum. So now we're doubling. It was a minute. Now it's between 1 and 2 minutes. It's still a film opening. So you don't need to tell an entire story. You're setting up a movie with the titles running every now and then you have your main title. So it is a film opening. All right. So please bear that in mind. You do not need to tell an entire story in that time. Technical elements, you need at least 1 extreme wide shot or establishing shot. You need to have 1 close-up and 1 extreme close-up, okay? You need to use 180-degree rule. This is the same as your previous one. Shot, reverse shot, match and action, thriller conventions. Everybody should have detailed description of what thriller conventions you're going to be using. And I want you to consider the critical reflections as you prepare for your main task. So think about the end goal as you are doing your main task, all right? And then After Effects, you're going to explore this technology and decide what you will add to your version of the edit. All the best. Remember to plan thoroughly, record all your decisions and changes. If you do a brainstorm and get to the storyboarding part of things and then decide you're going to change your idea, record that. Upload your original brainstorm, your original idea, and then show the progression through changes of what you decided to do next. And then I'm going to give you a checklist. So your concept is exactly what you did last time, basically explaining it's your pitch. What is it? It's going to be a psychological thriller, and it's going to include the following elements. It's going to have the following conventions. What is your concept? If you went to a Hollywood production company, a producer, and put your concept on the table, how would you sell your film? The second part of that is, which I haven't included in here yet because I'm still busy typing this up to go on the blog, is your treatment. Now I am putting onto our blog, in the filming resource section, there's going to be a treatment. Usually I would hand this out in class. This is basically a word-for-word template for your treatment that you're going to include. The things like basically the conventions that you're going to have in there, and what your your work has been influenced by. Basically, there's prompts the whole way through for you to answer questions and work your way through. A treatment is basically what you would also take. You would take your concept and your treatment to a Hollywood producer if you were wanting to get your film produced by a big production company, or anyone for that instance. Anyone who has a film idea that they're wanting to pitch to someone else. So use the resources. Don't go stressing and trying to research it yourself. All your resources are on our class blog. So make sure you do that. If you're on location, do some research. I don't want to hear, oh, well, we were at home and I couldn't get photos of the actual place. If you want to film yours in a forest, then go onto Google and research and search up some images of a forest. What kind of look and feel do you want? Do you want it to be in the daytime or the nighttime? Get lots of different pictures and talk through, basically put your thoughts onto paper of your creative choices. If you want it to be an abandoned house, or maybe it's a house because you want it to be something the audience can relate to. Maybe you want to just use your house, but you want to have the whole fear factor of someone trying to get into your safe space. Maybe you're going to take photos all around your house and talk about the whole playing on fears being part of a thriller convention. All right, props and costumes. Again, I don't want just a list of school uniform or someone's in a nightgown because they woke up early in the morning, whatever. I want pictures of it. What types of characters do you envision? What type of character are we getting clues about by what they're wearing? What type of props are you going to have? Now, most of you did a really good job of this in your PT1. This needs to go to the next level. I need research. I need you to be able to demonstrate that you've researched this sort of thing. Lighting. If you're on lighting, go and research. You've got lots of time to do this at home. Go and research thrillers. If you're doing the psychological thriller, Google it, YouTube. Use the resources that you've got to find thrillers that did a good job, or what you would like to replicate or try with their lighting. Maybe they use backlighting. Maybe they use lots of shadows. Maybe they use lots of silhouettes. You think, okay, that's what I want to try. Then you're going to go and research how to get that effect. And you're going to include all that in your lighting plan. All right. And that might change. You might have for 1 or 2 scenes, maybe you're just working in the dark with night vision sort of effect. Maybe another one you're using natural lighting, whatever. I need to know, what is your lighting plan? Sound, you can start to research your sound. What do you plan on including? What sort of sound effects are you going to include? Is there going to be sort of the knife sharpening sound effect? Is there going to be a jump scare involved in that, in your thing? What sort of chase music could you use? Look up some chase scenes and start to show that you understand the sound elements. Maybe your dialogue, you want to really get your dialogue really sounding good. Maybe you want to do some research into how to do the best sound recording for dialogue. Maybe you have a voiceover in there and your narrator is narrating the whole thing. Think about what your sound is going to be. And then editing as well. Look up some cool editing, especially for your chase scenes. You want to know how to do that. Think about your, if you want to use flashbacks, think about if you want to use, what are some other editing techniques? Transitions. What sort of transitions are you going to use? Are you going to use your slow fade to black? How do you want to create a disorientated sort of feel? Research and look up how to do this and then put this into a plan. Okay, so let me just stop sharing for a second. So that is going to be up on our blog. Okay, it's going to be up on our blog for you to look at, for you to keep referring to. What I need to see is basically an entry on your blog for your group discussion times. Maybe you want to take a screenshot of you guys doing your Zoom call, your Facebook message group, whatever, and evidence of your planning. And then maybe you say day 2, put up a post that says day 2. You will have to have your proper planning blog entry like you did for PT1. But basically for your class time, I need to see that on day 1, you met together and you discussed such and such. Day 2, you met together and you discussed such and such. And then at the end, you will have your blog post with all your finalized planning. Now, hopefully that makes sense. This is not ideal because I can't take questions and answers right now, but I'm going to put this up on our blog and hopefully you can revisit it and go through it again. I've tried to be as thorough as I can. If you follow step by step bullet points, ticking off that list of that checklist that I will put up on our class blog, you will pass this well. Remember, we're going for detail and you guys are incredible. You're going to do this so well because you've done really well in PT1. Next level up, you guys are going to do really well. So Looking forward to hearing your ideas. Think of more than one idea, people. All right, don't settle on one idea before you've explored all options. Maybe you go down the rabbit hole of a psychological thriller and then you think, hang on, what if we did action thriller, and what if it looked like this? And just think of lots of different ideas before you get your heart set on one. That would probably be my advice to start off with. Don't be afraid to speak up if you're not loving the idea, or if you think that there's a problem with it. If you're planning on shooting at night, but actually none of you can get there at night times. All right, think these things through, and I'm looking forward to organizing individual calls with your groups. We'll do calls so that I can listen to your idea, hear the pitch, and help point out if there's any holes or flaws in your plan. Otherwise, I'm sure it'll just be a massive thumbs up because you guys are incredible and you know what you're doing. So exciting times. PT2, we have got 1 week to plan, and while that week is while you're chipping away at it every day, there is going to be a homework assignment that you will be working on as well. Chat soon.